name's Celine and I live in Buffalo, New York. I have a week off work and right now there's a crazy ice storm, and maybe I'll show some footage of it right now, but I can't go anywhere. I can't go grocery shopping because my car is covered in like at least a 1/4 inch of ice right now. And I couldn't even open it. My husband had to take a $30 Uber to work today because he couldn't open his car either. So kind of exciting, kind of annoying. I've got some things I need to do today. Even if I could, I probably wouldn't be going to the grocery store right now, even though we have no food right now in the house. Well, we do have food, but not like edible food, so I've got to make some stuff. We're on a strict budget and we're trying not to grocery shop until the end of February. So I'm gonna be making bread and I'm gonna be making lentils. So that's on the plan today. By lentils, I mean like a lentil soup. We'll see. I'm not gonna use a recipe for it. I've done it enough times. I feel like I know what to do, and I don't really have a lot of options. I have to use what we have in the cabinet. And hopefully it'll be a big enough soup and a big enough batch of bread to last us until March. We might have to crack and go grocery shopping, we'll see. We have some canned chicken and canned tuna and some other stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys how I make my bread. I'm new to this, so I don't know how I'll really show you or how much detail to give, but I've made this recipe a lot of times and it always turns out great. I'm also going to be taking care of my plants today, and maybe I'll vlog that. Yeah, and I am on day 52 of 75 hard. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not, but it's basically like a self-improvement plan. I've done it before. I did it last year and I loved it, and now I'm this far into it. So the ice storm kind of puts a wrench in that in a way because, well, if you know I won't go into the rules. Maybe I'll make a video about 75 hard sometime because I do have a lot of thoughts on it. I've done it twice now, or almost done it twice. Knock on wood. I don't want to, I mean, I still, even though I'm 52 days into it, I'm still like, I don't know if I can do this. So we'll see if I finish it. I'm pretty sure I will. But yeah, so one of the requirements is 45-minute workout outside. And I don't know, the guy who made this, he must have not been thinking about people who live in Buffalo, New York. So I've had to bend that rule a few times, and the people on the internet out there would just say, oh, that's it, you didn't do 75 hard, and that's fine. Okay, like I didn't do it according to the rules strictly, but I have been very, very strict about it within the bounds that I have decided to create for myself. Like I've been a little bit loose on the 45-minute workout being outside, but I've never missed any of the workouts. So to me, that's still pretty good. And I've been very strict on the other rules. And considering that we had a blizzard here, like a record-breaking blizzard that you could not go outside for 45 minutes or you would have frozen to death. People did freeze to death. I think something like 30 people died during that blizzard. So considering that, I don't feel too bad about not doing the outside workout on that day especially. Well, I wasn't even doing it at that time, but if I was. Anyway, you know what I mean. So let's get started on the bread. I don't really know how I will film this, so bear with me. Okay, so for this recipe, you do need a food scale. This is one I've had for so long, just from Amazon, the cheapest one. It's awesome. So we are gonna measure out 355, oh, I already have a cup, 355 milliliters of milk. 105 degrees will be what we need it to be at for the yeast. Here's my yeast. I keep it in the fridge so it'll last a long time. Pro tip that everyone probably knows. So whenever I'm checking the temp, I like to give it a little stir first to make sure that it's not like a random hot pocket in the milk. Okay, we're at 89, so I'm gonna keep going. It's a lot easier to get it warmer than to bring it down. So I like to pause and check it, pause and check it. In the meantime, I'm gonna measure out my yeast. I need 7 grams of yeast. Actually, I'm gonna check it. This is where like my ADD, well, I'm not ADD, I'm not diagnosed ADD, I shouldn't even say that. This is where I'm, you know, it's hard, baking's hard when you don't do it. Okay, we're at 105. When you don't do it like real bakers where you get everything measured out and the mise en place, that's what they call it, right? Where you set everything out that you need so everything's just smoothly, you just dump it all in the bowl at the time. I'm not like that. I really should be, especially when I'm filming a YouTube video, right? Okay, but so we want 1/4 cup of milk and 7 grams. So we're not gonna pour this whole thing in for the yeast, just 1/4 cup, which is 2 ounces if you're measuring it out, which I am. So first let me get the 7 grams of yeast. Okay, then I zero it out, add the 2 grams or 2 ounces of milk. Okay. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna get this guy. And I'm going to dissolve it. So now this is where, again, I get myself into trouble because I'm supposed to have some butter already melted. So I need 3 tablespoons of butter melted. 3 tablespoons or 43 grams, which I just measured this. It's exactly 43 grams. Okay, it's the little things, right? So I'm gonna put my yeast away so it'll go back to sleep in the fridge till the next time we run out of food on a budget and I need to make bread. Okay, gonna put the butter away. I'm gonna get out 2 eggs. Look at this. I have exactly 2 eggs. I've been saving these for when I need bread. Now, or when I need to make bread. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix them into the warm butter because, yeah, this butter is almost completely melted. There's still a little bit of solid in there, which you can't see really, maybe, but you don't want the cold egg. See, if I were really on top of it, I would have brought these to room temp, but I didn't. So you don't want the cold egg to shock the yeast while it's trying to bloom and grow. And that's just what I imagine. I don't know. So I'm gonna mix it up. because we're gonna add this to our yeast mixture with the rest of the milk. So I'll show you what this looks like. It kind of works twofold in that it, in that it cools down the hot butter and warms up the eggs. Okay, so now I'm gonna add this to my dissolved yeast mixture with the rest of the warm milk. So things get messy. I'm kind of one of those clean as you go type bakers. I can't handle, well, first of all, I always clean everything before I bake, not just when I'm filming. This is the first time I filmed, but you know, I'm saying I didn't just clean this area because I knew I was filming. I think it's very, very important to clean thoroughly before you bake, just because it's stressful to bake, and it's so much more stressful if you're trying to do it in a dirty environment, right? That might be obvious. Okay, so last thing I need to add is, I'm just gonna go ahead and get out a few things. I'm getting out a few things from my baking cabinet. I got flour and sugar, so I gotta add 67 grams, 67 of sugar. Now that might seem like a lot. And here's a hot tip that maybe everyone knows, but I didn't know really before I started baking with precise measurements. Milliliters and grams measure the same way, like on the scale. They're the same. So you don't have to be changing the unit all the time. Okay. So this is what we have. Ooh. It's kind of like a soupy mixture right now. It's pretty nice. So this is what we'll be adding the flour to. So we're gonna add 5 cups or about 625 grams of all-purpose flour or bread flour. Now I happen to have more all-purpose flour, so I'm going to be using that. So now I'm going to put that on here with the paddle attachment, this one. And I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. And I'm gonna go. It's gonna go. Whoa! I meant to lock it in. Okay, so it's been going for about 2 minutes. At this point, you are going to, oh, it's so heavy. Switch from that paddle attachment to the hook attachment. So let me do that right now, and then I'll be back. Okay. So the bread has been going with the hook attachment on low for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Okay, so I think we're good on adding more flour actually. If you see, it's really, really stretchy now. It's a little more like tacky, like, well, yeah, it's not too sticky at all. It's kind of, that's how I know that I don't need more flour. Nice bounce to it. So at this point, I'm gonna butter these. I actually melted it, so it's a little easier to butter. So I'm just gonna pour a little in both of them. Get it all. And then I'm gonna butter. Oh, actually, I'm doing this a little early. I forgot, I actually need to butter a bowl. So before they go in here, now these will just be ready for me later, but before they go in here, they have to do a rise in a bowl. Now, I'm not gonna do it in the bowl that it mixed in because it has to be a greased bowl. If you want, you could take it out of that bowl, set it somewhere clean, clean that bowl, dry it, grease it, if you only have one bowl for some reason. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use this bowl I have, and I feel like there's something in it, so I'm gonna clean it really quick. Okay, so I have buttered my bowl, rinsed it, dried it, buttered it, and now the dough's gonna go in. So, oof. And by the way, my hands are clean. They're always clean. Well, like, they're always clean if I'm touching food. I wash my hands a lot. And my husband and I will be the only people eating this. Okay. Okay. It looks great. So I cover this tightly with Saran wrap. It's just in here. You don't have to shape it in any sort of way or anything. I like to take a picture of it at this stage. This is a tip I got from Claire Saffitz. I'm sure you know her. If you don't, you need to. So yeah, so I just put it in here. Oh, one thing that I think is very important to do that I didn't do, which I'm gonna do right now, is you flip the dough inside the bowl. First you put it in, then you flip it, maybe even more than once, just so the outside of it is all coated in the grease, or the butter in this case. That will prevent any of the tackier, non-greased surface of the dough from clinging to the sides of the bowl and kind of pulling it down and not letting it rise to its full potential. We want it to rise to its full potential. So we're gonna let this sit for, I think we'll let it sit for about 2 hours, but I'm gonna watch it, maybe 1.5. But since there's a freaking ice storm outside and it's kind of cold, you know, in my kitchen it's pretty warm, but on a summer day, this would definitely probably only take like 1.5 hours or so. But in the winter, maybe it'll take 2 hours. So it's 9:45 right now. I'll check back in with you in about 2 hours. Okay, so while the bread is rising, I am going to take my dog out in this ice storm, and maybe I'll get some footage out there. So let's see what it's like out there. It's pretty crazy just from my window, which I might show you. Okay. So I'm back. It is now 11:16. Look at this. Pretty amazing. Maybe you can't tell. I'll take this off. It's absolutely risen like crazy. It's to the top of the bowl, to the top of this saran wrap. That's what you want to see. I think it's over doubled in size. It looks great. Okay, so changed my hair. There's nothing like watching footage back of yourself, and that, you know, there's nothing like that helps you realize just how much you hate your hair certain ways. I don't know why I decided to experiment on my hair on my first YouTube video. My hair is never curly like this or wavy or whatever. It's usually straight. Anyway, it's back now, which is probably better for baking. But yeah, now that our dough has risen the first time, now we have to knead it for 3 minutes by hand. So for this, I'm gonna get the flour back out and I like to just sprinkle it. This has been cleaned. This is always where I knead in my kitchen. Not really sure why, but it just is a place, unlike the other surfaces in my kitchen, that don't really have. So it's 11:32. So I'm gonna knead till 11:35. Yeah, unlike the other surfaces, this surface is usually open and free. So I usually just knead by pushing. Make it so you can see. Just rolling it, pushing, folding it back on itself, pushing some more. Okay, it has been 3 minutes, so I'm gonna put it back in the bowl and I'm gonna cover it again with the same plastic wrap. So this is gonna rise for another 30 minutes. It has been 30 minutes. The dough is really risen again. Yeah, so now I like to do this because I like to be precise. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weigh the whole dough. So I do this by using the scale and emptying it, hitting tare so it's down to 0 with the bowl on it. Okay, so we're just at about 1200. So then to make sure each loaf is exactly even, I split it into about 600 per loaf. This one's a little big. So I just take some off. Okay. Then I shape them roughly into little logs that will rise into nice, evenly shaped and balanced loaves. Believe it or not. So I'll show you what these look like. I'm using the same piece of plastic that I've used for the bowls and for everything, and it fits perfectly over these two when they're next to each other. Okay, very nice. 2 little twin babies going to sleep. So these are gonna rise for about 45 minutes to an hour. And at that point, I'll brush some butter on the top of them, and then we can bake them. So it's been a little over an hour. Maybe I let them rise too much, but they are definitely risen. I'll bring them over. Look great. So you're looking for them to come over the top of the pan, which they have. This one seems, no, they seem pretty even. It's a great thing about measuring, okay? I'm just gonna coat them with melted butter. You probably don't need to use your hands for this. You could probably use like one of those pastry brushes that people have. I don't have one though. This feels weird to be doing it on camera. They are very nicely buttered and shiny and beautiful. Now, the oven has been preheating. It is at 400 degrees. I'm gonna put them in for about 45 minutes to an hour. I don't even know what to say. As you can see, the bread is out. You might notice it looks pretty dark. I made a mistake, which is unbelievable because, as I said, I've made this recipe like 10 times. I think filming, mad respect to all YouTubers, filming is making me just forget everything and not think clearly, and it actually makes everything take so much more time. So what went wrong? So what went wrong is you're supposed to bake it at 400 degrees, like I said, but only for 10 minutes. And then you reduce the heat to 350 and bake it for only 20 or 30 more minutes. I baked it for 400 degrees for a full 40 minutes. So, I mean, I will show you what it looks like when we cut into it, and I think it will be fine. I think it will just have a little bit of a harder, dark crust on the outside, but the inside will be soft and fluffy. And a big reason I think that is I took the internal temp whenever I got it out, and it was right around 200 degrees, and that's where it should be. So I was really lucky. Is a little bit bigger than that. I mean, a little bit higher than that. It's about 208, but I took them out of the pan right away to cool. I'm hoping, because as you know, we're on a budget. We're trying not to buy any food till March, so there was a lot riding on these. Yeah. So, you know, but I wish you could smell these. Smelling them, they smell like heaven. Honestly, best smell ever. Yeah, and they feel good. I mean, you might have heard people always say you should be able to knock on the bottom of bread like that and it should sound hollow. It definitely does. Oh, and yeah, as I was saying, filming is taking so much of my day. And then I got hooked on editing what I've already filmed, which takes so much time. So I still haven't done any of my workouts for 75 hard. I have to go to the gym. Hello, it's the next morning. I didn't end up wrapping up the video yesterday because I just got busy. I went to the gym, did my workouts for 75 hard, and then I had to pick up my husband since he Ubered to work because he couldn't get in to his car because of the ice. And yeah, so that took up a lot of my evening. And then we had dinner. I inserted some footage from dinner and what it looked like. The lentil soup turned out so good. It's very, very simple, just, you know, your basic mirepoix, or I think there's a lot of other terms for it, like sofrito or whatever, but it basically just some carrots, celery, and onion that we had, which were all going bad. Some of the only food that we have left as the end of the month approaches and our budget is almost used up. So it was great to use those, and then I just put lentils in it with some broth, and it turned out very, very good, very flavorful and very healthy. So, and a huge pot, so hopefully we can use that for the rest. Well, I don't know if we'll use it for the rest of the month. Maybe I'll update you. So that turned out great. The bread, a couple of notes. It was significantly drier because of the baking mishap, the baking temperature mishap specifically. And I also forgot salt, which seems like a small thing, but it's a big deal. The salt really brings out the sweetness. But we just put butter with salt, like salted butter on it, and that kind of made up for it. Overall, very, very good. I think it's gonna go a little quickly. I don't think it will make it all the way till the end of the month, but we'll see. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed making this video. I thought it was so much fun. I hope to continue to make more. I wanted to do a plant care section in this video, but I think I'll just, you know, maybe do a time lapse of me taking care of my plants, and maybe showing you some of my plants in another video. And I really hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I feel very silly saying that, especially since this is my only video on YouTube, but you know, I hope to continue to make more. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So hope to see you soon. Bye.